Welcome back to another Top 10 Retro Gaming, gamers! Today we're gonna count down the top 10 hidden gems for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Kicking our list off at number 10 is The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. Released in Japan in 1991 and North America in 1992, this game is part of a long-running Goemon series, which first began in 1986 as an arcade game titled Mr. Goemon. The series features a comical take on Japanese folklore, with the main protagonist being a chivalrous thief named Goemon, who is loosely based on the historical figure Ishikawa Goemon. The Legend of the Mystical Ninja is the first game in the series to be released for the SNES and the first to be localized for Western audiences. In this game, Goemon is joined by a ninja named Ibisumaru, and together they must save Princess Yuki from the clutches of the evil warlord. The gameplay consists of a mix of side-scrolling platforming, beating up combat, and exploration through various Japanese towns, villages, and of course castles. Players can also partake in various minigames like playing the lottery or visiting hot springs. The game has an upgrade system where players can buy better weapons, armors, and items by collecting coins dropped by defeated enemies. The Legend of the Mystical Ninja received positive reviews for its unique art style, humor, and variety of gameplay. The game is considered a classic and has spawned several sequels and spin-offs on various gaming platforms. Despite its popularity, the series remained mostly Japan exclusive, with only a few entries being localized for Western audiences. Number 9. Cybernator. Known as Assault Suits Valken in Japan, Cybernator is a side-scrolling action game developed by NCS Corporation and published by Konami for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1992. The game is part of the Assault Suits series, which began with the 1990 game Assault Suits Lenos, also known as Target Earth for the Sega Genesis. In Cybernator, players control a powerful mecha, a piloted humanoid robot called the Assault Suit, as they battle through various futuristic environments. The game is set in the 21st century during a time of war between two major factions, the Axis and the Federation. The player assumes the role of Jake, a pilot for the Pacific States Marine Corps, who is tasked with taking down the Axis forces. The game was praised for its detailed graphics, smooth animations, and engaging gameplay. It featured an upgrade system that allowed players to enhance their mecha's weapons and abilities, adding a strategic element to the game. Players could choose different paths through the levels, which added different replay value. Cybernator's story is darker and more mature than many games of its times. Throughout the game, players are faced with difficult decisions that affect the outcome of the story, making it a memorable and immersive experience. Although Cybernator did not achieve massive commercial success, it has become a classic among fans of the SNES and mecha games. Its influence can be seen in modern mecha games and is remembered as an important entry in the history of SNES games. Number 8. Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park for the Super Nintendo is an action-adventure video game developed by Ocean Software and published by Ocean of America. Released in 1993, it was inspired by, what else? The blockbuster film Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg. The game combines elements of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat in a top-down perspective, with some first-person shooter segments as well. Jurassic Park for the NES follows the storyline of the movie but expands upon it, allowing players to control Dr. Alan Grant, a paleontologist who survives to escape an island overrun by genetically engineered dinosaurs. Jurassic Park for the NES follows the storyline of the movie but expands upon it, allowing players to control Dr. Alan Grant, a paleontologist who must survive and escape the island overrun by genetically engineered dinosaurs. The game features various iconic dinosaur species such as Velociraptors and Tyrannosaurus Rex, as well as non-dinosaur creatures like giant dragonflies and scorpions. The gameplay of Jurassic Park consists of navigating through the island, solving puzzles, and engaging in combat against dinosaurs and other creatures. Players have access to a variety of weapons such as stun guns, tranquilizer darts, and more powerful firearms. In addition to the top-down view, the game also offers first-person perspective sections for indoor environments where the player must navigate through labyrinthine structures while fending off dinosaurs. Jurassic Park received mixed to positive reviews upon its release. Critics praised the game's graphics, atmosphere, and sound design, but criticized the difficulty level and the lack of save or password system, which made the game challenging to complete in one sitting. Despite these issues, the game was a commercial success and is fondly remembered by many fans of the film and the SNES. Number 7. Metal Warriors. Metal Warriors is a 2D action platform developed by LucasArts and published by Konami for the Super Nintendo. The game was released in North America in April 1995, where it was not released in Europe or Japan. The game's development was heavily influenced by the success of similar titles like the aforementioned Cybernator and was aimed at expanding the mecha combat genre. At the time, LucasArts was known for its graphic adventure games such as Monkey Island and Grim Fandango, but Metal Warriors represented a foray into the action platformer genre. Set in the year 2102, Metal Warriors puts the player in the role of a mech pilot fighting against the Dark Axis, an evil faction seeking to control Earth. Players control various mechs called assault suits, each with unique abilities and weapons, to compete a series of missions against the Dark Axis forces. Metal Warriors is known for its impressive graphics, fluid animations, and diverse gameplay elements. Players can disembark from their mechs to explore environments on foot, hijack enemy mechs, and utilize various power-ups to upgrade their mech's abilities. The game also features a split-screen multiplayer mode, allowing players to engage in one-on-one mech battles. Although Mech Warriors received positive reviews from critics and players alike, it did not achieve the same commercial success as some other titles in the mecha genre, such as Mech Warriors series. However, the game has since gained a cult following and is remembered as an underrated hidden gem in the SNES library. Number 6. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Also known as Zombies in Europe and Australia, in a run-and-gun shooter game developed by LucasArts and published by Konami, it was released for the SNES and the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive in 1993. The game features a unique blend of horror and humor, drawing inspiration from classic B-movies and various horror tropes. Players take control of either Zeke or Julie, two teenagers who must save their neighbors from a variety of monsters, including zombies, werewolves, vampires, and giant babies. The development of Zombies Ate My Neighbors began in the early 1990s at LucasArts, led by programmer and designer Mike Ebert and artist Colony Streicher. The game was created using the in-house engine Scum, which is also used in popular LucasArts adventure games like Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion. The gameplay in Zombies Ate My Neighbors is characterized by its top-down perspective, fast-paced action, and cooperative multiplayer mode. Players navigate through 48 levels filled with various monsters and obstacles, using an arsenal of unconventional weapons such as water guns, soda cans, and weed whackers to defeat enemies and rescue neighbors. Upon its release, Zombies Ate My Neighbors received positive reviews for its unique theme, entertaining gameplay, and engaging multiplayer experience. It has since gained a cult following and is considered one of the best games for the SNES platform, at least by the team here at Top 10 Retro Gaming. The game's success even led to a sequel, Ghoul Patrol, in 1994, but it failed to achieve the same level of popularity as its predecessor. Number 5. ActRaiser. ActRaiser is an action platformer and city building simulation game developed by Quintent and published by Enix, now Square Enix, for the Super Nintendo. ActRaiser was one of the early titles for the SNES and received critical acclaim for its innovative gameplay, graphics, and soundtrack. ActRaiser's gameplay is a unique blend of two distinct genres: action platforming and city building simulation. Player assumes the role of the Master, a divine being also known as God in the Japanese version, who has awoken from a long slumber to find the world overrun by evil. The game is divided into two distinct modes: action mode and simulation mode. In action mode, players control a statue brought to life by the Master, or God, battling through side-scrolling levels filled with various monsters and platforming challenges. These levels culminate in boss fights against powerful demonic entities. Clearing these levels purifies the land and allows players to begin rebuilding the world in simulation mode. Simulation mode tasks players with guiding their worshippers to develop their settlements, clear lands, and construct buildings. Players manage resources, repel monster attacks, and solve various problems facing their people. As the settlement grows, the master's power increases, unlocking new abilities and spells to aid in both modes. ActRaiser's soundtrack, composed by the great Yuzo Koshiro, is notable for its rich orchestral sound and is often cited as one of the best video game scores of all time. The music perfectly captures the game's atmosphere, providing a sense of grandeur and adventure. Over the years, ActRaiser has maintained a dedicated fan base and is remembered as a classic title for the SNES. Its unique combination of action, platforming, and city-building simulation gameplay, along with that memorable soundtrack, has cemented its place in video game history. Number 4. Shadowrun. Shadowrun for the SNES is a cyberpunk-themed action RPG developed by Beam Software and published by Data East. It was released in North America in May of 1993, in Europe of 94, and Japan in 96. The game was based on the tabletop role-playing game Shadowrun, created by FASA Corporation in 1989. The SNES version of Shadowrun follows the story of Jake, a private investigator who wakes up in the morgue with no memory of his past. As he explores the dystopian city of Seattle in the year 2050, he unravels a complex conspiracy that has left him with a price on his head. The game combines traditional RPG elements with a real-time action system, isometric perspective, and point-and-click interface. The game world is set in a cyberpunk universe where magic and technology coexist. Players can interact with various NPC characters and engage in combat with both human and supernatural enemies. Throughout the game, Jake learns new abilities, collects various items, and recruits other characters to join his cause. Shadowrun for the SNES received mixed reviews upon its release. Some critics praised the game's unique atmosphere, compelling narrative, and innovative gameplay mechanics, while others criticized its steep learning curve, slow pacing, and extreme lack of guidance. Over the years, however, the game has developed a cult following and is now considered a classic of the Super Nintendo era. Number 3. Lufia 2: Rise of the Sinistrals. Lufia 2 is a role-playing game developed by Neverland Corporation and published by Taito Corporation. It was released for the Super Nintendo in Japan in 1995 and later in North America in 1996. The game serves as a prequel to the original Lufia and the Fortress of Doom, which was released for the SNES in 1993. The story of Lufia 2 is set 100 years before the events of the first game and follows the adventures of a young swordsman named Maxim. The game introduces players to the Sinistrals, a group of powerful beings who aim to conquer the world. Maxim, along with a group of allies, embarks on a quest to stop the Sinistrals to save the world from their destructive plans. Lufia 2 is known for its unique blend of traditional turn-based combat and puzzle-solving elements, featuring randomly generated dungeons called Ancient Cave, as well as puzzle-filled dungeons that require players to think strategically to progress. The game also introduced a capsule monster system where players can collect, raise, and battle with various creatures to aid them in their journey. The game received positive reviews from critics and players alike for its engaging story, challenging puzzles, and unique gameplay mechanics. It led to sequels: Lufia: The Legend Returns for the Game Boy Color in 2001, and Lufia: Curse of the Sinistrals for the Nintendo DS in 2010, both which continued to explore the world and lore introduced in Lufia 2. Number 2. Goof Troop. Goof Troop is an action-adventure game developed by Capcom and released for the SNES in 1993. It's based on the Disney animated television series Goof Troop, which aired in 1992 and ended its run in 1993. The show revolved around the adventures of Goofy, his son Max, and their friends. The game was developed by Capcom, a renowned Japanese game developer, and was designed by Shinji Mikami, who later became famous for his work in the Resident Evil series. Goof Troop for the NES is a single-player or cooperative multiplayer game, allowing players to control either Goofy or Max as they solve puzzles and battle enemies across various stages. The story of Goof Troop for the SNES follows Goofy and Max as they attempt to rescue their neighbors PJ and Pete from the evil Pirate King Keep Hall Pete, who has been kidnapped them and taken them to Spoonerville Island. To do so, Goofy and Max must navigate through 5 different areas, each with its own unique puzzles and enemies, culminating in a boss battle at the end of each level. The gameplay of Goof Troop features a top-down perspective, and players must utilize various items such as barrels, bombs, grappling hooks, and more to solve puzzles and progress through the levels. The game emphasizes teamwork, especially in cooperative multiplayer mode, as players need to work together to complete tasks and defeat enemies. Goof Troop for the SNES received positive reviews for its unique gameplay mechanics, colorful graphics, and faithful adaptation of the television show's characters and humor. Although it wasn't a massive commercial success, it has since become a classic and hidden gem remembered fondly by fans of the show and retro gamers alike. Number 1. Secrets of Evermore. Secrets of Evermore is an action RPG developed by Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, for the SNES. Released in 1995, it was the first video game developed by Squaresoft's North American division based in Redmond, Washington. The game is set in the fictional world of Evermore. And the story follows a boy and his dog who are inadvertently transported to this world from a small town in the United States. The player controls both the boy and his shape-shifting dog as they explore Evermore, solve puzzles, and fight enemies in real-time combat. As they progress through the game, they discover the secrets behind Evermore and how it's connected to their own world. While the game featured an innovative alchemy-based magic system and a unique atmosphere, it received mixed reviews at the time of its release. Critics praised the graphics, sound, and gameplay, but some criticized its story and lack of multiplayer support, which was a popular feature in The Secret of Mana. Over time, however, Secrets of Evermore has gained a massive cult following and is often considered an underrated classic in the SNES era. Although it was not as commercially successful as some of Squaresoft's other titles, the game remains an incredibly memorable experience for many fans of the SNES and action RPG genres. Well, there you have it. There's our list of top 10 hidden gems for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Thanks for watching.